Hey guys, just getting the stuff set up on my laptop here so I can see your comments, and then we'll be ready to roll. Good stream. Everything's looking good. Mute my computer. All chat. Nikos Doctor, looks like you're the first one. Thanks for joining in. Make sure my computer doesn't go to sleep. Nikos, thank you for the kind words. I love my car too. So, how's everybody doing? I have my heater on right now. Hopefully that's not too loud. It's cold as shit in here. So, I just did not want to, I didn't want to freeze my butt off. William says, why are you alive at this ungodly hour? Well, Will, I'm just going to have to pan you guys over to the left here. Why don't you just take a look. That right there, the sun is not even down. What ungodly hour are you talking about? Drizzt says, I was just off to bed. Glad I caught the stream notification. Thanks for joining in, and sorry I'm keeping you up. Niall Mac Music, hello, in Ireland. Thanks for joining in. Jack Thomas from England, hello. And Nikos, you're in Cork, so I guess you're in Ireland as well. Or from Greece. Where are you at? Is Cork in Greece as well? William says, I'm only messing. How are you getting on with your project? I'm not calling it that, William. Alex says, America, Thanksgiving's over. Yep, you don't have to be nice to me anymore, Alex. Well, Supercharger's still behind me because I haven't started it yet. Still waiting on parts. All those come in on Monday. I'll probably do a little unboxing or something because I'm going to be really excited about those parts. Yeah. So what's going on with you guys? If you're in the U.S., how was your Thanksgiving? If you're not in the U.S., how was your Thursday? Regular Thursday. Did you get any good stuff on Black Friday today? If you guys don't know, I'm doing 15% off everything in my store. Merch.classicminidiy.com. That is only going until midnight Pacific time. So it's 15% off your entire order if you want to pick something up. Oh, Lord. I hope we do not pick that Project Trump. I can't deal with that. Not going to call it that. We're still getting votes in. I'm not gonna close the voting for the project name out of those top 4 until I basically film the next episode. So I'll just keep letting votes roll in until the episode gets named. Literally until I type it off. Or type it in. Type it in. Type it off. Niall says, can you give me advice on a good exhaust system? I'm about to run a Fast Road 1340 with an HIF 44. I really like the Manaflow systems. Any of the Manaflow setups I've been really, really happy with. I used to run an RC40 on my Mini, and it was really drony. It was a fine exhaust, the performance was fine, there wasn't any sort of hit, didn't really notice much, increase, but it was solid, just really drony. The Manaflow systems are awesome. I prefer the twin box systems, they're much quieter, and I just like a quiet car in general. The downpipe though, where your manifold from the exhaust, on the back of your head down to the bottom of the exhaust, that's where you're going to see the majority of your gains, unless you go to like a really small pipe or something. I think a stage 1 is solid. They do sell that stage 2 kit, I think is suitable for the road as well, with the bigger center pipe, because the center pipe manages the exhaust for 2 cylinders, so it's a little bit more taxed. Let's see here. What other questions? Williams has been out on this beautiful Welsh countryside today filming for my next project. It's not a mini, but it's going to be pretty cool. Well, I like minis, but I trust you. You wouldn't say it was cool if it wasn't cool. So I'll trust you. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Finlay says, any words of wisdom for dismantling and then rebuilding an engine for the first time? Two things. One is don't rush it. Just take your time, really enjoy the process, because it can be a really, really fun process, taking apart an engine, seeing how it all goes together, and then obviously putting it back together. One thing that I have been really, really happy with is cheap Tupperware containers. I don't know what the dollar store equivalent is if you're not in the US, but just head over to a budget store, pick up some Tupperware containers. They don't have to be fancy, and get some that have, you know, lids that you can stick on it. And I label everything, so I have a label maker and I normally stick it on there. Since these aren't in use right now, you know, I don't need them. I don't have any names on them. But you know, when I take something apart, like here's the oil pump bolts into a Tupperware. Here is the timing cover side, so all the bolts and nuts for that, all the gears and the chain and everything. Here's a Tupperware for that. And I've been really, really happy with that. It's been turning out pretty well so far. Those are really the two top tips I would give you. And just read the documentation on how to do things. Taking it apart, it's hard to mess this stuff up, aside from like stripping bolts or breaking off bolts, things like that. But putting it back together, definitely read the instructions, read the details in your Haynes manual. It's very important. Let's see, what else here? Drizzt says, proudly put my just arrived Classic Mini DIY stickers all over my toolbox. Thank you so much for getting those stickers. I'm glad that they made it over to you safe and sound. Oh, Alex, you have something? Oh, you said something. 15% off Patreon or nah, fam. Patreon doesn't let me do discounts, but you get bigger discounts if you are a patron. How about that? Any tips and tricks for lots of welding? Well, I am not a pro welder. I really just took some courses when I was in diesel mechanics to become proficient in how a welder works. I don't have any top tips because I'm not very experienced in welding, so asking probably the wrong person on that one. Mini Tom has been welding a lot. William Murfitt has to weld a lot soon. Keith Miller on Classic Mini Workshop, he welds a ton and has a lot of videos more recently on welding. He's got a project he's working on. Nico says, how can I transform a Mark III rear lights to Mark I? So from my understanding, you have to buy new metal. So the way that the Mark I lights mount, it's different than the later model cars. Mini Spares, I think, does sell a metal panel, but you literally have to cut the metal out of where those rear lights sit currently, weld in the new one, then obviously you have to repaint it and everything. So it's a process. Jonathan Klein says, Alex Toon, go look in the mirror for your answer. Alex Toon says, it's alright, when he gets the ferry over again, I'm not picking him up. Hey man, I invited you over here to the US to come and enjoy the mountain roads, bring you all over, but hey man, you know, I see chopped liver over here. Yvonne, thank you for joining. You are up really early, aren't you? 5 o'clock? Oof. Isn't it like 6 or 7 a.m. in Japan right now? Nico's Huddersfield. There's a town nearby Charlotte called Huntersville. I missaid that. Huddersfield Mini Spares do the full conversion. Reese says, been watching all those videos, still makes me nervous cutting the Mini up. I don't blame you. I am not a big fan of cutting it up, although I guess I am lying to you because I drilled 2 giant holes in the hood of my car to put bonnet pins in there. So what do I know? Let's see here. Yvonne, why are you up at 7 a.m. on a Saturday? What you can sleep in. Today's the day, or your day is, it's still Friday here. So, Mad Max, is there any mini support in a Vegas? I'm assuming you mean New Vegas, or not, or Las Vegas. Um, I don't really know. I don't know. I'm sure there is somebody out there. Lots of people like cars out in the West because stuff does not rust. But in terms of parts suppliers, I mean, 7 Mini Parts is just over in California. They're in Auburn. I think they're in Auburn. I forget now. But I mean, that's not very far in terms of parts. But as far as like support to fix it and stuff, I don't think so. I can think of Portland, California. I don't know where Gildred Racing is, but I don't know how much work they do on the actual old Mini stuff. I know they do conversions a lot. Jonathan Klein says Eastwood has a nice larger window for reasonable. Oh, that's a lot of different money symbols. I'm like, what am I looking at here for welding? Jonathan Klein says welding mask. William Murfitt says, Reese, you can make an omelet without breaking you can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs. That's very good advice. Yvonne says she's hungover. That's funny. Alex Toon says, Nikos, I get you. I would ring them and ask for advice. You guys are just talking. Not going to read all that out. Blah, blah. Oh, man. Man, why is it not getting any warmer in here? I got my heater on, but this tiny room just isn't getting warm. Alex Toon knows all about that. He needs a heater for his brand new garage. Neil says, any advice on light and flywheel and performance clutch? So you don't want to over lighten your flywheel, but the stock Mini flywheels are really, really overweight. They were made out of an iron material, and you can get a huge improvement in fuel economy and performance by simply just picking up a steel flywheel or a steel pressure plate, steel flywheel, all that mess. I was trying to think if I had a flywheel in here, but I don't think I have one that, yeah, I don't have one to show you guys. Mini Spares sells a new production steel flywheel that's great. It gives you a lightened profile but doesn't make it really unpleasant to get off the line. What sometimes happens is when you over lighten your flywheel, you lose out on power in different points of your power curve. So it ends up being really unpleasant in stop and go traffic, and then it ends up kind of fighting itself as it's spinning at really, really high RPMs. So you got to find that sweet spot. My tip would be just to pick up the flywheel from Mini Spares. It's great, and that's actually what's going on my VMAX kit. I'm not lightening it a lot. Just bringing it to a kind of standard spec. Woody Key says, really love your videos. I restore speedometers in the UK and can build any classic mini speedometers, and wanted to offer a 120 speedo with a trip like the original Works Minis had as a giveaway. Rich. If you want to offer that, if you want to do like a collaboration and offer a giveaway on the channel, I'd be happy to host it. And yeah, send me an email, classicminidiy@gmail.com, and let's chat. Reese Yule says Alex's garage is pretty sexy. Alex, it sounds like you have an admirer. I guess that all those things on something popped up here. Just gonna show that. Sounds like all those posts on Instagram, you got a few admirers. I'm one of them, just to be clear. I really want a garage. This workroom is absolutely incredible, and I want to say a huge thank you to my wife for helping me put this together, because really the majority of the planning and everything was all her. I don't know if I've ever showed you guys, but I'm gonna send you looking up in the garage here. But how do I want to do this? Yeah, so if you look up, all of this is storage inside the garage here, and it has made it just a pleasure to work in this room. But my Mini is still sad and alone outside every single night, and so I still want a garage. Hopefully that'll be something in the near future. We'll see. Nico says, so I have a Mark III Mini and I bought an Austin Cooper S badges. I know that I have to make new holes, but what about the stock ones? I'm wondering, could you, instead of drilling new holes, could you use some sort of adhesive to stick that on, rather than using the posts there? I don't know, then you don't have to drill any holes or anything, and maybe you can position it in a way that would cover up the old holes. I don't know. Ilias says, I'm assuming that meant to say hi, hello. Vince Mini France says, be the way, hope you wife is fine. Oh, by the way. Reese says, at the moment the Mini is on the drive, sitting on 2 pallets. I know how that feels. I don't know if all of you know about this, but when I was most recently working on my Mini, the last time I had the Bad Wolf engine out, I had my car on jack stands for, I don't know, a couple months, but I had it covered. It's on my property in my carport. Somebody called the city on me saying that it was on jack stands and it was unsafe, which was super frustrating, but the city code guy was pretty nice, even though, you know, he did issue me a citation. He said if I got it on the ground in time, they wouldn't charge me anything. But I mean, like, how wrapped up in messing with other people's lives do you have to be in order to come in and complain about something like that? Especially when, like, I keep my garage or my carport really, really clean. Mini was covered, you know, I don't know. People are weird. Alex Toon says that storage is so clever. Yeah, she thought all that up. It turned out really well, and I'm telling you, that storage could probably hold, I don't know, 1,000 pounds. It's insane. I mean, you saw the paint that was up there, and that is not light, but it's sturdy. And then, you know, I have my totes full of stuff up there. Vince, she also makes him wear proper shoes. She likes my flip-flops, thank you very much. It's just really cold outside right now, and I have to wear my shoes. It's really hard to drive my car, but I manage. A lot of people giving me crap about that, and I just want to say that it is because I have really big feet, and like they're like boats. So whenever I go to hit the brake, I'm also hitting the gas, or I'm hitting the clutch as well. It's awkward and it sucks. That's why I'm always wearing them barefoot. Guys give me such a hard time. Minisaurus says, can you make your carport into a garage? Yes. Yeah, so thankfully, because the structure, the roof of my house is already extended over my carport, so really all we'd have to do is frame it in and add a garage door. We'd obviously take down the wall that's over here. These windows would come out. There's a kind of a space between this wall right here and the body of our house, so you can get into the backyard right there. So we'll frame in the carport, and the only drawback is that because the siding is so old on our house, we're going to have to redo the siding to make it match. We'll basically have to put new siding on the rest of the house at the same time. So saving up right now. Hopefully we can do that sometime next year, but we'll see. We'll see. Reese says, no champagne in this video. No, not tonight. Yeah, we were celebrating the kitchen being done. We've just renovated the kitchen. So wife got to renovate the kitchen. Garage is next for me, and so we were celebrating that. And I had a little bit, you know. I'm gonna stick it with the water tonight, though. Ernesto says, what's up? Happy Black Friday. Thank you very much. My wallet is very angry right now, but it was a good Black Friday. In fact, weirdly enough, I didn't order any mini parts. I've already ordered all of them on the Black Friday sales that were available, so those are all going to be here on Monday. I mentioned at the top of this video that I'll probably do an unboxing. Really excited about that. William Murphy says, I want to know your thoughts on the $230,000 Bring a Trailer Mini. Now, if you guys don't know about it, I'd have a little pop-up right here if I was able to pre-edit this video, but there was a Mini, a very rare Mini with no doors. It was a beach version of a Mini, There were only 15 of them made. It sold on Bring a Trailer this last week for $230,000. If you don't know, Bring a Trailer is like a really high-end like auction site, and there was a bidding war that lasted a few hours, and it ran it up to $230,000. So basically, somebody spent $250,000 on a Mini, which is pretty crazy. I don't know how I feel about it. I think the car is really, really cool, and it's definitely one of a kind, or 15 of a kind, and I think it's awesome that someone, ideally, assuming someone has that kind of money to spend on a Mini, they're probably going to preserve it, which is great. I doubt it's going to get driven a lot, but I don't know. That's just a guess. I just couldn't bring myself to spend that much money on a Mini, if I'm honest. It's just too much. Especially one that's not going to be able to be practically driven most of the year. You know, it's got to be warm for no doors. Reese says, sounds like a win-win deal. Yep, you gotta give and take. It's a partnership, and sometimes, we go with the kitchen first, and then I get a cool garage. So, works out. Sam says, oh, hey, Cole, I wanted to ask you about Clubmans. I'm in South Africa, and they are kind of common here compared to the round nose Minis. What is the deal with them? Cheers. Well, lucky for you, William Murfitt is in this live stream, or at least he was a moment ago, and he has some Clubmans. As far as I know, they're not different aside from the body. The engines are basically the same. The interiors are basically the same, but you get a front end that looks a little bit more Euro, I guess. I think that's how I would describe it. And but it's still standard A-series engines. You do have a little bit more room inside the engine bay, which is nice, so you can do more stuff. If you want to add like a big front radiator or oil coolers, or I don't know, whatever you want to do, something crazy with it. So I don't know, it's kind of a style question. I like the round noses a little bit more, but I really like the Clubmans too. I just like them all. Nico says, do you recommend Air Ride suspension kit? Sorry for all the questions, but I want my Mini to be perfect and need advice by an expert. Well, you're asking the wrong person. I don't think I'm an expert, but I appreciate you saying that. The suspension kit, the Air Ride kit, I would say there's a guy that I met when I was over at International Mini Meet, Paul Parsons, Paul P. He has a bright orange Mini. You might have seen it on Facebook or Instagram. It's famous. And he made a custom Air Ride suspension for it, or hydraulic. His is it's juiced Mini. That's the name of it. But never mind, that's not Air Ride. But same kind of concept. I wouldn't do Air Ride. I think it's too complicated, and the cones are solid. They work great. Just a brand new set of cones, and you'll be really happy. Let's see here. Jonathan Klein says, do you need any track lights? My pool supply store is remodeling and tossing out nice lights. I snagged some sets from my workshop. I'm good at the moment, and I can't imagine that I'm going to be doing the garage anytime like in the near future, and I'd have to store them. But I really appreciate you offering. I'll probably say no, though, at the moment. Reese says, made a deal with the missus. I buy a Mini, I take her to Orlando. That's a good deal, too. Are you going to go to like Disney World or something when you're in Orlando, or just going for the beaches? Classic Mini Workshop. Hey Cole, how big is your workshop? It looks much bigger in some videos. Yeah, the GoPro has a wide view, but you've met me in person, so you know how big my arm span is. It's about, I'd say, I'm short maybe 2 inches on each side, so there's lots of room to spin around and do what you need to do. And the other direction is probably 2.5 meters, maybe 3. I don't know. I'm bad at metric measurements. Let's see here. Jonathan Klein says Clubmans are easier to work on, more room in the engine bay. Yep, I would agree with that. William Murfitt says more expensive panels for the front end consists of lower and upper panels, slam panel, and two headlamp panels, and only available in Heritage circa £1,000. That is a lot of money for some panels. Yeah, so there's a drawback. If you have to, if you have to do any sort of welding work on the front end of the car, it's more expensive. Although I'm wondering if there's any suppliers in South Africa that have those panels. I don't know. Sam says, I love mine, but I wouldn't call the engine bay roomy. Round nose minis must be hilarious to wrench on. Yeah, hilarious is the word. Not frustrating or cramped. Reese says, shopping and Universal in Orlando, then Clearwater for the beach. Shame you are not closer for a beer. Hey man, if you want to come to Classic Minis United next year, well, I guess it'll probably be, it's about 1.5 years, so I don't know if it'll be next year. But I'll be there with the Mini, and maybe we can connect up then. Maybe you can get the Mini over there. Vegas is a bit of a trek though. Ilias says, I'm planning to buy some tools. They need to be some decent quality ones. I'm thinking about buying a second-hand 7-drawer tool chest from a garage bankrupt auction. Oh, that's a good idea. The toolboxes are toolboxes. If the drawers are, open and they aren't like, sticking or anything, everything rolls nicely. Toolbox is a toolbox. It's just there to hold the stuff. I'd spend more money on the tools than I would spend on the toolbox itself. Let's see here. Eric says, anyone snag any good deals on Black Friday, Mini related or not? There are some awesome deals. I'm just going to plug 7 Mini Parts, my parts sponsor. They have some really, really good deals right now. The CAD short shift, that's for sale right now. It's really heavily marked down if you want to pick one of those up. That's for the rod change. They have the remote one. I think that's on sale as well. Trying to think what else. They got bunches. They've got a huge selection of parts, and they've got some heavy markdowns here in the U.S. If you're overseas, I think Mini Spares has a Black Friday. Well, I know Mini Spares has a Black Friday deal running until Sunday. I picked up some of their Mini Spare specific parts, the new helical gear set for my supercharged build, and some other parts that Mini Spares is the only one that carries. They're awesome as well. Sam says, I've just sprayed the grill on my Clubman. I almost spit when I found out how much it was all worth. I've got the original bumpers too. That's really exciting, and great that the bumpers are still in good shape. Matt MK1 says, are there many why am I saying that? Why are there many Mark 1 Minis over there? There's quite a few. So the U.S. market did not see a lot of later Minis. So most of the Minis that are U.S. based are earlier, so Mark 1 or Mark 2. Canadian Minis often come down from the Great White North down here into the U.S. Canada saw Minis a lot longer than the U.S. did, so a lot of our imports are from Canada. Corey, hey bud, thanks for joining. Thanks so much. Good to see you. How's your supercharge build coming along? Hopefully it hasn't stalled or anything. Hopefully you've been moving along. Nico says, there's a guy I know in Greece that sells a beach version of the Mini, like the Bring a Trailer Mini, for only €2,500, but you can't drive in on the road with no papers. Interesting. I wonder if it's a modified one or if he has one of the original ones. My understanding, from what I read about it, 13 of those beach Minis, out of the 15 of them, 13 of them were made for the U.S. market and went straight to the dealerships all over the U.S., and they were supposed to be a promotional car. The other 2 were in the UK, but I don't know what those ones were used for, so there are only 15 of them in the world, apparently. I'm not an expert on that, though. Reese says, need to order some stickers for the toolboxes. Well, Reese, I've got 15% off my entire merch store right now, so right now is a great time to pick up stickers. And I'm running a little low on stock on some of them, so if you want to pick some up, now would be the time, definitely. Let's see. Eric says, yeah, it seems that all of the big suppliers are having a big sale. Mini Spares is doing a winter sale out December. I myself spent like 1,200 pounds on the MED website today. Yeah, MED, they're about to get some of my money too. I'm going to be picking up the 18cc Omega pistons for the supercharged build, and then I'm also going to be picking up the auto bias LSD for my differential. Super excited about that. My wallet is not super excited about that. It's insanely expensive. Not that it's not warranted, those things are awesome, but it's just a lot of money. You spent 1,800 pounds with SwiftTune and they didn't send you any stickers? That's criminal. That's criminal. But SwiftTune, I'm not bad-mouthing you. I think you guys are awesome. But send some stickers out for these guys. Come on. Corey says, got hung up on the needle. Too cold out in the shop right now to work on anything. Yeah, so Corey, you saying that made me just realize that I haven't shipped these needles out to you. I'm really sorry about that. I am terrible. There they are, your needles. Actually, these are not the ones. Where did I put yours? Not gonna forget this time. Where did I put all those? I'm not gonna forget. I'm gonna send those out to you. I'm really sorry. Sam says, how do you gentlemen feel about painting brake drums? I have a set of mini lights, 10-inch alloys. The car is light blue with white roof, and I was thinking of painting them black or red. I painted my drums black. I just wanted them to kind of blend in and go away. William says that he went with yellow. That certainly will not make them blend in and go away, but let's see here. Eric, do you need any? Do you need my address for the MED order? Reese, stickers ordered. Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. I'm assuming you mean stickers from my site. Mad Max says, I have a Cannery Yellow with white topped 69 Mark II. Austin right-hand drive, no rust in Las Vegas. 17 years, and I've had the Mini, and I love it. Yep. Hard not to love. I'm with you on that one. Even with all the problems that I've had off and on with my Mini over the years, I still wouldn't trade it for a thing. I would add to it, though. I would definitely add like a Land Rover Defender or a Toyota Land Cruiser if I could. Ilias says, if you had to choose an engine for an engine swap on a classic Mini, but it must be a not obvious Honda K Series or A Series, which type of engine would it be? So there have been some EcoBoost conversions, Ford EcoBoost conversions that I've seen pop up here and there on the internet. I think it was on Instagram, or maybe someone's mentioned it to me. It all kind of blurs together. I think that's really cool. I'd probably do something like that. Or I'd love to do some sort of small displacement diesel just to say I did. Like a little turbo diesel or something. I'm sure there's a way you can fit it in there. Eric says, Jonathan Klein, you're a little late, I'm afraid. I already spent the money. Don't worry, I actually shop responsibly. Oh, let's see here. Sam says, my engine is rust, brown mostly, but whenever I fix a bit, I paint it. It's fun way to keep track. That's a neat way to track the progress. I'd probably get really, really impatient and end up painting everything, but I think that's a great way to approach it. Nico says, can you please tell me if this fits in the Mark III Mini, lens, rear moke, red? Yeah, I'm not really sure. I've not done any sort of conversions on lighting before, and my Mini's a Mark I, so I've already got those lenses. My knee-jerk reaction would be that it probably doesn't immediately just swap over. Reese says, my 998 is being rebuilt at the moment. It was yellow. What color do I paint it? Well, I think yellow is the original color of the 998, depending on the year. But I personally like the really green British racing green, the like Austin green. But you should paint it what you like. You know, everybody's always here to trying to encourage you to paint it one way or the other, but you should find a color that looks really good with your car and paint it that. That's my opinion. I don't paint aside from the period 998 that I rebuilt, I don't build my engines to like original color spec or anything. I want to like what it looks like. Sam says there was a mini drag car on Hoonigan Autofocus recently. It had a supercharged big block Ford in it. It was spectacular. I bet that thing was a crazy thing to drive. William says yellow is cool. Mine went bright yellow. Yeah, see? William likes yellow and he painted it yellow. Ilias says any classic minis converted to electric in the future. I would absolutely love to convert my car to it, and not Bad Wolf. This will be saying supercharged. I really don't want to pull the engine again after I put that in there. But another Mini, I'd really, really like to do an electric conversion. I want to wait until battery technology is a little bit better though, because like most people are maxing out the range around 100 to 150 miles, and I want it to be like 300. I want you to be able to drive it like you would a normal car. Let's see here. Eric says, oh, hey Cole, the little cover for your firewall with the grommets you showed in your videos. I tried looking up the name you mentioned, but I could not find the product. Do you have to email the guy? Yes. He doesn't have it on his site yet, but he posted on his Facebook group and stuff. Here it is. Have a little bit of oil on there. He posts these pictures on his Facebook group as well as his Facebook's page. Yeah. In case anyone is wondering, this is the cover. It covers your bulkhead, the hole where your Speedo is. I have a makeshift one right now. I'm really excited about putting this on when I put the supercharged engine in there. I'm hoping that it makes it really nice and quiet. It's all relative, obviously, but it's going to be cool. Let's see here. Corey asks if I will be doing any suspension upgrades for the supercharged build. I won't probably change much in the suspension. It's all pretty dialed in the way I like it. I might lost my train of thought about what I might do. What did I just forget? Oh, I might change out the brakes. I'm thinking about 7.9-inch discs. I gotta make sure that they fit with my 10-inch wheels. Because some of them don't fit 10-inch wheels, some of them do. I've got the four-pot calipers already. I think the color on them is starting to fade. The anodized, they got something on them and then it messed up the color. So I'm thinking about taking them off when I have the engine out and just taking them to like a powder coater or somebody and having them powder coat them like red or blue or something really funky. Right now they're a really unpleasant, muted, like worn light blue color, and I'm not a fan of that. Let's show this. William says he's been in conversation with a company that does EV conversions, start at 20K. Yeah, so I was talking to a guy here at one of the local car shows. He did an electric conversion on a Porsche 911. He put a Tesla Model 3, or maybe it was the Model S, drivetrain in it, and then the batteries out of a Prius, I think is what he said. It's been a little bit since I talked to him. But he was the guy who does most of the ECU modifications for these drivetrains is actually just a little bit north of me in North Carolina. And so it's pretty cool. There's like a good connection there. He sells salvage drivetrains that he pulls out of Teslas and remaps, hacks, so that you can do whatever you want to do with them, and it pipes up to a standard kind of ECU setup. I don't know a lot about it, but it's definitely something that I'm keeping in the back burner of my mind until I'm ready to pull the trigger on something like that, which is going to be a while, to be clear. Jonathan says, anyone know the difference between an early 997 Cooper engine and the 998? If someone says 1cc, you're getting bitch slapped. So the head is different. It has a different head setup, a higher flow head, and I believe, I know for sure it came stock with dual valve springs, so that's a little bit different. The pistons themselves are different. They have the D-top piston, so it's a small step in them, although they don't manufacture those D-tops anymore that I'm aware of. Trying to think what else. The 3-synchro gearbox on the bottom of it, it was a 3-synchro remote gearbox that came standard on it, which I've got just off the screen here. It's really dirty. I'm not going to pick it up because I don't want to. But it's really, really messed up and old. That I damaged when I was restoring that engine. But trying to think if there was anything else that really stood out. It's just a different compression ratio too. They're intended to have a higher compression ratio, so you have a little bit more power. Paul Nelson says, what is your favorite gasket sealer? It's this one right up here. It's Permatex Black, Extreme Black. It's high temp, it's oil resistant, and it has served me very, very well. I use it on all of my engine rebuilds, and I know a lot of people say, oh, you know, Minis always leak oil, but if you take the time to seal everything and, you know, seat everything properly, they don't leak oil. That's the stuff right there. That's what keeps it from leaking, in my opinion. Mike Bishop says, what's your favorite Mini? Mark 1, 2, 3, Saloon, Clubman, Moke. I am really, really partial to Mark 1 Minis in their look. I just don't think there's, I mean, all of them look awesome, but the Mark 1s really do it for me. I also really like the Mini pickups. Those two put together are definitely my favorite too. Nissan Leaf is the base for those conversions that William is talking about. That's pretty cool. That's a good idea. Sam says, so I'm doing my first suspension comb replacement this weekend thanks to you, Cole. Also Steveson Motor Co. His ball joint rebuild video is really helping. Yeah, they dove in really deep on those ball joints and have some great information there. I'm really happy to hear that I helped you out though. And best of luck to you this weekend. If you have any questions, you know, shoot me an email. Ilias says, does engine sound isolation for the underside of the hood and for the firewall really work? Does it really make it quieter? Ilias, 100% it does. It's incredible. I have underside sound deadening on my hood, and I used to have a firewall blanket. I don't have that right now because it just got really old and ratty. I mean, it was basically 8 years old and took a beating. But it is night and day. For at least it was to me in my Mark 1. Later cars were already pretty quiet in comparison to earlier cars, so it might not be as night and day for you if you have a later car, but for me it was like, holy shit, my car is actually like not, I can talk to people inside my car now. William says, nice one, Sam. Watching Cole's video made me start my channel, and now we speak most days, and I consider him a really good friend. His videos are truly honest and easy to follow. Will, that is really nice of you to say, and I had no idea that you started your channel after watching mine. That's really cool. Thank you. I'm glad that I inspired you to do that because you got a great channel too. For those of you who don't know, William Murfitt has an awesome channel. I'd go check that out if you like minis, cars, anything really. It's great. Good stuff. Mark Barker says, hi Cole, what sort of rocker shaft setup are you thinking of running on this build, and also any idea yet on final drive ratios? Yes, so rocker shaft assembly, it is going to be stock. It's going to be the stock lift because I do have a performance cam that Stuart over at VMAX sent me to suit the supercharger, but a mild setup on the rocker shaft assembly is going to be better for this build. So I'm just going to be sticking with that for right now. If I feel like it needs to be changed, I'll probably talk to Stuart first, see what he recommends, and then maybe change it from there. But for right now, that's going to be stock. The drive ratio is, I'm setting it up with a LSD, but I'm setting it up with an ATB, which is an auto-biased LSD, so it uses fluid to deliver the power correctly to both wheels. And it makes it really streetable. So I didn't want a clutch type LSD because I didn't want to fight my car every time I was turning it, because I want to drive my car as much as I possibly can. But I am going to be doing a 2.95 to 1 final drive. That's what I actually have in my car right now. I'm very happy with it, but I do a lot of highway driving in between work and my house. Lost my train of thought. So 2.95 auto biased LSD, and that is going to be the setup that drives the power. Sam says, I've got the old factory foam under my hood. It's ancient, but if I take it out, I noticed a difference. Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty, I think it's pretty night and day. The hood's a really great place to get some sound deadening, and the firewall. There's not really a lot of room for sound deadening between the subframe and the body of the car down at the bottom, but you can supplement that on the opposite side. The only thing is you don't want to stack it up too high because you'll end up reducing the travel of your pedals, which is not ideal. Reese says, after the supercharger, maybe an electric conversion by yourself. I would really like to try and tackle that, but I absolutely will not tackle that until I get a garage set up, because that is going to involve probably a lot of late nights of, you know, wiring and fiddling and everything, and I'd like to do that inside the safety of a building. And also, I'd like to be able to just leave stuff as it sits so I can keep coming back to the job as I need to. That's one thing that's... And whenever I finish work on my car, I have to clean up. Otherwise, I don't end up, I end up having to, get flack from the neighbors or my wife who doesn't like the trashy state of the carport, which is totally fair. M. Nowak says, I am planning to buy a Mini, but there is none on the market, but there's still a few engines to rebuild. Would you start with the engine first? So I really, really like rebuilding engines, like a lot, and sometimes it gives you enough of that project to get you into, whatever you need to do, and then you can build up the engine to exactly what you want. Instead of having to split the money between the engine and the body of the car or whatever's wrong with the car, if there aren't any Minis on the market, you can work and build up an engine that's like perfect for you. And then whatever car you get, you have a perfect engine to go into it, and then you can focus on working on the car. I don't know. I think it's a good idea. Reese says, I'll ship some bricks over for you from the UK for your garage then. Where in the world are you located, says William Murfitt. Give me just a second here. Alrighty. Paul Nelson says, any cure for drooping Mark I door handle short of replacing the interior latch mechanism? So you might find that the handles are not what's wearing. It's actually the external hinges. They are notorious for starting to droop. Either replacing them with a brand new set. The new sets are a nicer metal. They're stronger. The original ones were brass. So, they sell rebush kits that are not very expensive. I think I might, yeah, some right here. So, it's a small pin and then a new bushing, and so you drill out the post that holds the hinge actuates on, and you rebush it, and then you take your new pin and punch that in, and that will pull up the door, pull up the droop, assuming that the hinges themselves, the mounts, aren't getting saggy. That's really the best way to fix those, aside from just replacing them completely. Mike Bishop says, do you know why Minis have two small 2-inch holes in the middle of the rear parcel shelf? I don't actually know why those are there. Maybe to allow venting of the compartment that stores the gasoline? I don't really know why those are there. Mark Barker says, have you ever seen a gear drive timing gear, any gear drive timing gear setups run on an A-series engine? I saw one on eBay a while back, but have found zero info. I'm not sure what you mean by a gear drive. They have a chain-driven timing setup already. It's 2 gears already with a timing chain. Are you talking about belt driven, like with a like a belt instead of a chain? Elias says, William, thanks for the information on the 20K electric minis. Saw 5th Gear reviewing electric classic minis that were custom converted. William says, bring a trailer, seem to have plenty for the US, maybe take a look on there. That's not a bad place. The thing with bring a trailer is you get absolute quality on the things that you purchase. Because they have a really, really strict vetting process. You literally have to apply to sell things on there. But the result is that everything that gets sold on that site is extremely high quality and ends up having, you know, a lot of detail around it. So you pay for that ability. So I'm probably going to wrap this up at 6 o'clock, which is about 6 minutes away. So if you guys have any other questions, now is definitely the time to ask. Whether it's about the supercharger, engines, other stuff that I can't think of, I'm happy to answer them for the next 6 minutes. It's so funny, whenever I say that, towards the end of these live chats, the live chat instantly becomes so quiet. It's like everybody that says, wait. He wants us to ask him questions now? I won't do it anymore. Paul Nelson says, handles, not door hinges. Okay. So the strike plate can be slightly moved up and down just a little bit. But are you talking about where the handles just kind of like get tired and rest? I've not found any solution for that. Mine do that, and I've just kind of left it. William says, off to bed, speak over the weekend. Top live stream as always. Thanks, Will, and have a wonderful evening. I will talk to you on WhatsApp later. Mike Bishop says, how do you know so? That cut out. What was the rest of that? Sam said, so I've had my car up on jack stands for a few days now, but whenever I work under the car, I inevitably notice something that needs work up top. I've wrecked my body straining to see into my Mini. Yeah, I've done that before too. It's interesting, the older you get, I don't know how old you are, but I'm 30, and the older I've gotten, it takes less things to hurt me. Like, I'll just turn a weird way, and then all of a sudden it's like twang, and my back is just like twisted and I'm stuck and like it just, oh god, super frustrating. I'm assuming that's what you're mentioning. Mark Barker says, no, it's a gear drive like Peter Jackson's gear drive setup, basically like a normal chain timing gear set without the chain. Oh, like gear to gear. I've never seen that before. Damn, that's crazy. I wonder how much variation you have in that, or if you even have the ability to set the cam timing. Man, that sounds like a headache to me. Classic Mini Workshop says, what's in the ammo box? I don't even know what's in there right now. Let's open it up. Oh god, it's heavy. Something's in here. It's old engine stand brackets, some extra leads, and some spark plugs. Not very exciting. Sorry. I was hoping to be something cool. There we go. Alright, what else do we have here? Mad Max says, are Mini electrical systems the same as a modern car as far as the body being the ground? Early cars used a positive ground, which was they still had the body as the ground, but it was the positive terminal was what was grounding things out. It's very counterintuitive, and all the electrical setup, all the systems in the car, which wasn't a lot, it was an early car, so there wasn't much electrical stuff. All used a negative lead and then grounded out to the positive. It was very weird. Otherwise, it was standard ground being negative, positive running to all your components. Yeah. Sam says, Gloria 7.62 by 39. Bog Standard says, greetings from the UK. Lovely to see you loving this wonderful car. Keep up the Classic Mini spirit. You bet. No problem there. I love this car, and I definitely always will. Mad Max says, thank you. Love the videos. Thanks so much. Ilias says, I've got a standard Classic Mini Alloys 12-inch wheels on my Mini. Are there any good aftermarket wheels that look like old school 80s BMW wheels? I think that there are. The Cosmics you might think look a little bit like that. I have on my site, on just classicminidiy.com, you'll see there's a technical button in the top right corner, and then on the that tool set, there's actually a wheel dictionary. You can click on whatever size you want to look at and skim through all of those photos. And like tons and tons of 12-inch wheels. You can skim through that. Maybe there's something on there that you like. They do have their names if they're available. Sam says, we're the same age, have to start being careful. But what's the fun in being so careful? But you're right, I shouldn't throw out my back. Paul Nelson says, what compression ratio will your supercharged engine build? I'm aiming for right around 8 to 9 to 1. So lower the compression so that I can increase the boost. Granted, the boost on the supercharger is fixed, so like you can't dial up the boost in the same way that you would with a turbo. But yeah, I'm getting the 18cc Omegas to decompress my engine. You can use a decompression plate as well if you don't want to change out the pistons, but personally I think that the right way to do it is to decompress it with the pistons, and that way you only have one head gasket. But lots of people run decompression plates without any problems. All right, folks. Mark Barker, to answer your question before I go, I'm going to be using standard 1275 connecting rods, which you can see here. They don't need to be crazy H-rod, blah, 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 intense piston or connecting rods. These 1275 rods actually can handle the power just fine. You don't need to go wild and crazy on them, unless you want to. It's not going to hurt the engine. And surprisingly, the A+ 1275 crank is pretty damn strong as well. It can take quite a bit of power, at least the power that I'd be delivering it with this. If there was something even crazier, like over 200, you might want to consider getting one of those multi-web cranks that MED sells. Corey, thanks for reminding me one more time. I'm ridiculous. Why can I never remember these needles? I'm going to get those needles to you. I promise. I won't forget. I'll get them to you. Ilya says, thanks, Cole. Going to take a look at your website. Do you recommend replacing the clutch plate in a Mini if it has sat for a long time, like 5 years? If the engine is out, definitely replace the clutch. It's out. It's going to be so much easier. But if it's in the car and it's just sat, I just run it and see how it is. You can always replace the clutch while it's in the car. It's a little bit more work, but it's possible. I have a video talking about it. Yeah, that would be just run it, see how it runs, and then if it's fiddly or it doesn't work very well, then replace it. All right, folks. So I will see you guys on the next episode. Maybe an unboxing next week when I get my parts. Maybe not. Depends on how busy I am with my regular day job. But yeah, thanks so much for joining in, and enjoy those minis and motor on. You know the drill.